Call meeting to order. This meeting of the Reading Municipal Light Board of Commissioners is being videotaped at the RMLD office at 230 Ash Street. The meeting is being videotaped for distribution to the community television systems in North Reading, Wilmington, and Lynnfield. We read our code of conduct. The RMLD Board of Commissioners recognizes the inputs of hearing public comment at the discretion of the chair on its items on the official agenda, as well as on items not on the official agenda. We ask that all questions and comments from the public be directed to the chair, and that all parties, including members of the RMLD board, act in a professional and courteous manner when addressing the board or responding to comments. Once recognized by the chair, all persons addressing the board shall state their name and address prior to speaking. It is the role of the chair to maintain order in all public comment or ensuing discussion. Just a few items tonight. I have more from Mr. O'Rourke than Mr. Pacino for the chair tonight. I've ascended, moving up one chair, so and Mr. O'Rourke is away. Mr. Talbot is with us tonight, even though originally he was going to be away, I was told. So, all right. We have no representative from the CAB tonight here, and we obviously have no public comments, nobody from the public to comment, so let's move into the RMLD board member at the CAB meeting. I attended the last CAB meeting, at which point the main item was the wholesale power supply motion, which we'll be discovering later on. It was a very interesting meeting. It went 1 hour and I was out of there. So it was a good meeting in terms of that. So, and we go on to the report of the committees. Mr. Hennessy, you're up first on the policy committee.
All right, we have been meeting recently to go over the drug and alcohol-free workplace policy. It's policy number 6, and we've now updated this policy to reflect current law, especially with regard to use of certain prescription and non-prescription drugs, including medical marijuana. And so we just brought that up to current law.
Okay, very good.
So I'd like to vote on that.
You ready to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the
adopt.
modification. What's
To
it?
adopt.
Adopt the motion of the upgraded policy number 6.
Okay, is that seconded?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? I see none. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries. We do have on the agenda a report on the Reading 2020 Working Group. Originally scheduled Mr. Talbot, I understand you were not able to.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be able to attend, but I was not.
Okay, so.
I would be very interested in.
It is being broadcast. I think they're rebroadcasting on cable TV, so, you know, we should all watch RCTV, obviously. And see that. Okay, let's take the minutes. The minutes are the next. Do I hear a motion to accept as presented?
So moved.
Okay. Seconded?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I see none. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Mr. Hennessy has volunteered to be the secretary for this meeting tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we go to the report of the general manager.
Was that for both sets?
What?
The minute motion was for both sets of minutes?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, was to accept them all.
Okay, great. Thank you, good evening. I just have a couple of announcements. The RMLD ran a financial forum.
Information.
No, informational forum, sorry, it's a typo. Informational forum on the diesel generator turbine and the benefits of peak shaving using this type of distributed generation technology. It was held on Tuesday, July 26th at 7 at the O'Leary Senior Center in North Reading. Gas generator, sorry, not diesel gas. And we didn't really have anybody from the public come in, although there's been a number of town meetings, not town meetings, but meetings with the town and some working groups that the town put together. And as far as I'm concerned, we're ready to go. And National Grid has started construction on the lines, and we should have the whole generator in by when?
By June, the first week in June.
Of next year,
Right.
in time for next year's peak.
Yeah, I did attend that session too. I represented the public very well, I felt.
Excellent.
So, And also the CAB representative from North Reading was there also. So,
Mark, yeah.
yeah, Mark was there too, so.
The second one is the Vehicle Day, is being held on August 8th from about 10:15 to 12:15, 5 Central Street in North Reading. So anybody looking to attend to, enjoy the trucks and vehicles of the town. There is no surplus to announce for this meeting, and I don't believe there's a meeting in August, correct?
Right. Yeah, we got the-
All I have to announce.
Very good. Any question from anybody? No? If not, then we, next on the agenda is Ms. Burke on the power supply.
Thanks. I have 3 slides for the power supply report on the month of May.
Mhm.
The first slide here depicts the energy breakdown by resource type. The majority of our power is purchased through our laddering and layering approach, or 54.8% of our system energy. As you can see from this slide, our renewable is growing. We had 11.7 of hydro, 2.8 of wind, and about 0.5 of solar. So it represents about 15% of the portfolio in the month of May that was renewable. Our nuclear was a little less than 14%, and oil and natural gas were about 1.8%. Next slide kind of looks at breakdown comparing year to year, May of 2015 versus May of 2016, looking just at the renewable portion. There was more hydro that was generated in 2016 than in 2015. For the wind resources, we picked up Jericho wind that came online in October, and we also have Saddleback Mountain, which was in the portfolio in 2015. And then the solar piece is the One Burlington project that we have. It's a 2 megawatt solar array that we're buying the offtake of that, and that just came online at the end of last year as well. So this is the first year that we're actually getting energy from that resource. And then the final slide takes those resources by type and looks at the average cost for the month of May. The average cost of our portfolio came in around a little over 3.5 cents. And this is representative of the, the highs of nuclear, which is 6 mils or 0.006 for the fuel component, to the wind at the 0.0998. So the wind and solar are a little higher, and that's what we expect with solar. When the directive that we've been given is to review those projects and try to find economic and competitively effective renewables to include in the portfolio. So that concludes that report for me.
Can I ask
Go
a
ahead.
question?
Go ahead.
Where do those directives come from? Maybe I should know that.
From Colleen, and we also have a sustainable policy in the portfolio that picks target levels that we're trying to achieve. And so between the policy and Colleen's directive, we try to incorporate those into the portfolio.
Questions? Any other comments? Okay. Are you doing the
Yeah.
the wholesale power supply too?
Correct.
Okay.
As Phil had mentioned, we met with the CAB on July 13th to review this laddering and layering approach. This was included in the packets, and it's included in the board. This is our contract timeline, and just to kind of give you a little high-level overview, that first line, or the blue section of the graph, indicates contracts that we have in our portfolio that were secured through the laddering and laying approach. The green line is the line that we're talking about tonight. Those are the monthly amounts of on-peak and off-peak power that we're potentially going to procure next month, if this gets approved by the board. And then the last year, the orange line, the third line down, is what we have left to procure. So if you look at the timeline, it starts in 2017. These are based on calendar years. So we're looking at 2017, 18, 19, and 20. So for 2017, because we've been doing this repetitively, this is the last portion that we're securing in this RFP. If we go out one more year, we've secured about half of it, 75%, and then in 2020, that's the first portion that we're looking to secure. And so we're staggering these and taking advantage of the markets and the spot pricing in order to hedge the power supply costs. When we first put this together, back in the beginning of July, and looked at the amounts that we're going to be securing, we assume a certain amount in our spot that remained in the spot market, so we can take advantage of those prices. So this equates to approximately 270,000 megawatt hours, and that the average cost of that on July 6th was $41.42 per megawatt hour. I just ran our indicative model again yesterday, and prices have come down to $38.52. So that's about an $800,000 savings just going from July 6th to July 28th. So this seems to be a very attractive time to be able to lock in some very competitive prices. If we look at the same proposal, there were different amounts that we purchased last year, but the average cost that we secured was around $47 per megawatt hour. So we're looking at $47 for the 4-year period a year ago, and energy prices have come down on the forward price curve to under $38.52 right now. So it seems to be that we're timing the market pretty accurately.
It's great.
Super. Okay, questions of the commission? Do I have somebody who wants to make the motion?
What's the motion?
It's in the agenda.
Oh, I don't have it right here. Move that the RMLD Board of Commissioners authorize the general manager to execute one or more power supply agreements in accordance with RMLD's wholesale power supply plan for power supply purchases for a period not to exceed 2017 through 2020, and in amounts not to exceed 13 megawatts in 2017, 16 megawatts in 2018, 20 megawatts in 2019, and 23 megawatts in 2020, as presented by the Director of Integrated Resources.
To the end of that, I would like you to add on the recommendation, and on the recommendation, general manager.
And on the recommendation of the General Manager. Okay.
The CAB did approve this by a vote of 3-0 with one absent. Okay. You
Second.
Second. Discussion, anybody? No? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries 4-0. Okay, very good. We're up to engineering and operations.
Mr. Chairman, may I just make one comment?
Sure.
Well, means give
Yeah.
something I forgot on shifting gears from policy meeting. There was a topic that I brought up with the CAB on the minutes. And I'm sure you've noticed that some of the minutes are getting to be 7 or 8 pages long.
Right.
It takes staff and myself a significant amount of time to review them. And a lot of the conversations that are reiterated back and forth are repeated and as such. And while I think it's really important that if someone makes a meaningful comment that they go on record as saying that, I had asked the CAB if we could do minutes traditionally, that they would be somewhat consolidated and not verbatim, as a means of being consistent with our goals of being a little bit more efficient. So certainly if someone said, I'd like to go on record as saying that, or they specifically want something, we can do that. But a verbatim of the entire tape is just...
Yes, because the purpose of the minutes is just really to kind of summarize some of the discussion. It's not supposed to be a transcript of what everybody says. And I've seen many minutes where, the motion gets made and then the next line is discussion ensued.
Yes.
If somebody wants to make we approve the minutes, and somebody at that point wants to say, gee, I want my line in there, you can certainly amend the minutes and put it in at that point.
I would agree. After going through 10 and 15 pages of minutes, it's take that off your plate. Yeah.
Well, in fairness, to Jeannie, I think that, probably before even I got here, there may have been some conversations where the board had wanted things to be verbatim for a particular reason, and then, direction may have been given to Jeannie because they want everything. And so I just want to make it clear that we'll take minutes traditionally, and if folks want to have things specifically documented verbatim, we can do that as well. And that way we're meeting a balance of everyone, but sticking with a little bit of efficiency. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Very good. Amin?
Thank you. Good evening. I'm going over the engineering and operations report for month of May. The first slide shows the capital improvement projects, which they show the spendings for each project as well as the year-to-date total. You see in the last column on the right. The second slide shows the routine constructions. The first column shows the categories. The second column is the spending for the month of May. And the third column is giving you the year-to-date spending for each category. That brings the total spending for the month of May to $115,307, and year-to-date spending to $1,404,284. Under the routine maintenance, basically we have 7 preventative maintenance program. And the first category is a transformer replacement, which through the month of May, we changed out approximately 17% of the pad mount transformers. And in the overhead transformers, we changed approximately 13% of the ones that we identified as being aged or overloaded. The pole inspection that was done for this year, as you know, we inspect 10% of the poles every year, 10% of the RMLD owned poles or in the custodial of RMLD. Which 172 poles were identified as the condemned or failed, that we replaced all of those poles, and 96 of those we have done the transfer, or the transfers were completed by the month of May. This is an ongoing process. The next category is a visual inspection of overhead lines. So these are the lines that they were visually inspected to make sure there are no potential failures, or if there are any problems with them, to identify and pursue for further actions that needs to be taken. The fourth category is a manhole inspection. Through the month of May, we inspected 397 manholes. This is a program that we started as of January 2016. And it's really great because we are identifying the problems and also the assets that we have in manholes, handholds throughout the service territory. And if there are any problems or potential problems, we address them. Actually, we have addressed a lot of those as we speak. And I'm very glad that we started this program. We still got quite a way to go, but it's a start. The next category is a porcelain cutout replacement. Through month of May 2016, 91% completed. We got 257 remain to be replaced. The tree trimming, in the month of May, we did 180 spans, which brings the year-to-date total to 2,461 spans that they trimmed. Technically, generally for every year in the budget, we have budgeted for 3,900 per year, which we got the remaining of that, about 600 span left for the remainder of the year, 2016. The last category is the substation maintenance, that we do infrared scan the substation equipment apparatuses inside the substation, as well as the parks, industrial parks, and we found no problem with any of the equipment. The next slide shows basically the double poles, which is we got 16,000 poles. That's the ownership that we have 50% of that owned by RMLD, 50% is the Verizon, but the custodial in our service territory is split between us and Verizon. In the Reading, we split between Verizon and Reading. North Reading is solely RMLD's custodial area. In Linfield and Wilmington, it's Verizon's. The next slide, it's the N. John's report that we share with Comcast and Verizon and fire department for transfers whenever we have double poles, or if the pole gets struck, or for one reason or another, we need to notify the other party to do the transfer. In the town of Linfield, we have 4 in the month of May. In North Reading, we had 61. In Reading, we had 61. And Wilmington, we had 49. And then under each category, you see how many transfers and how many set poles, sole owned poles that we owned, that we had to set, or the ones that we needed to pull the pole out of the ground. Which North Reading again is us, but the other communities in Reading is half us, half Verizon, and the other 2 communities Verizon is responsible to remove the pole butt after everybody is transferring. The next slide shows you the reliability indices, SAIDI, KD, and SAIFI, and as you could see, they're all below the national and regional averages. So reliability-wise, we're doing well. The next slide shows the outage causes that, the graph on the right shows you the outage causes for 5 years average, that you could see most of the outages were caused by the equipment failure, about 36%, the trees were 30%, and wildlife 21%. The graph on the left, the pie chart, shows the outage causes that year to date caused as of from January all the way to May, month of May, which you see the trees were 44%, equipment 26%, and wildlife 20%, and the rest were human error or weather related or for unknown reasons. So this concludes my report for the month of May. Any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, very
Appreciate
good.
it. Thank you. You want to go over the bids now, or no?
I have a question, I don't know if it's directly on,
Sure.
but we had a number of peak calls and very impressed by what was going on from RMLD. I just wondered if there was any sense of how, maybe that's coming, of how the public response shaped the demand curve, or is it too early to say?
Too early to say.
Okay. Do we know if one of those days was the highest?
So far to date, the ISO's preliminary peak occurred last Friday at 1,800. They had a peak of approximately 24,000 megawatts. Today was another day, and they didn't quite reach 24,000. So that occurred.
So it looks like the annual and monthly peak is going to be last Friday, probably?
Maybe in August.
So
Right,
far.
unless there's a surprise in August.
Correct, but right now it stands to be currently the 22nd.
That wasn't our first peak call, right? The first.
No, we've had 6 of them.
Right.
Had 6 of them. So it's been continually hotter and hotter.
Right. And there was a 911 call on the first one we got, but then not on the next ones.
Well, town hall's closed on Fridays.
Okay.
So 2 of those
Interesting.
occurred on Fridays.
Huh. That's interesting. And the town hall has to be involved. It's not just a police decision.
Well, we were working with, I believe her name was Jane Miller in the town hall,
Uh-huh.
and she was helping to coordinate that.
I
So
see.
that was my point of contact,
Does that go just in Reading or all 4 towns?
just Reading.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, so there's no analysis yet?
None yet.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments? No? If not, we go to the financial report.
Thank you.
Wendy, you're up.
Yep.
Good evening.
Evening.
Okay, tonight we're presenting the financial report for May of 2016. For the month of May, the net income or positive change in net assets was $332,716, thereby increasing the year-to-date net income to $3.9 million. The year-to-date budgeted net income was $2.5 million, resulting in net income being over budget by $1.4 million or 55%. Year-to-date, the base revenues exceeded the budget amount by $189,000, or just under 1%. Actual base revenues were approximately $21.3 million compared to the budgeted amount of $21.1 million, showing base revenues to be pretty close to budget and pretty flat. Year-to-date purchase power base expense was over budget by $1.3 million or 4.9%. The actual purchase power base costs were $28.2 million, and the budgeted power costs were $26.9 million. The purchase power fuel expense was under budget by $1.6 million. The actual purchase power fuel cost was $29.9 million, and the budgeted cost was $31.5 million. For May, the operating and maintenance expenses combined were under budget by $739,000, or about 5.5%. And the actual operating and maintenance expenses were $12.6 million, while the budgeted expenses came in at $13.3 million. We stand consistent with the areas where the budget is still under due to timing, no storms, no major spills, which is really a good thing for us. And overall cash was at $38.3 million. Our operating fund is at $15.1 million. The capital fund has $4.5 million. Our rate stabilization fund is $6.8 million. Deferred fuel is at $5.1 million. And energy conservation fund was $781,734. Year-to-date, the kilowatt-hour sales were 618 million kilowatt-hours, which is about 15.7 million kilowatt-hours, or 2.48% behind last year's actual figures. That concludes my report.
On that chart there, what is the one to the right? What is that supposed to represent? I
It's
couldn't.
a bunch of small cash accounts that we have. We just want to show, all the cash accounts on
Okay,
on
so
the
it's
chart.
part of this bigger
So we
pie.
have,
it's
yeah,
part
the
of the
petty
big, okay.
cash, the small one, the petty cash
what that
hazardous
was.
waste.
Yeah, it's an expansion of the, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that way you could read it.
Okay. Okay.
So our expenses we're doing quite well,
Yes,
and that's because there were no major
no
high
major
expense.
storms, no oil spills, thank goodness, and.
Because everything else seems pretty stable. From
Right,
prior
exactly,
years.
exactly.
The audit ongoing at the present time?
Oh, yes, it is. So, no, not the audit, but the audit preparation is ongoing. And we're preparing for the auditors to come the week of August 8th through the 12th. So everybody's, revving up for that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mr. Fournier is coming back to consult, I
he
think?
is here a few days a week to help us out
Okay.
in preparation of this.
Very good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, move on to, we have some bids. Bids?
Sure.
And there, go on to the next page.
Quite a few bids, actually.
Yes, why don't you read the motion, then Camille can give us kind of the setup, so.
So this is the distributed generation RFP 2016 to 24. The motion is to move that bid 2016-24 distributed generation be awarded to Milton CAT as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder on the recommendation of the general manager for a total cost of $2,008,538.
Okay, is that seconded?
Second.
Okay. Hamid, you want to give us?
Yeah, Milton Cat, basically, it came out lower. Actually, surprisingly, compared to the last time that we bid for same size generator, they were $300,000 less. Obviously, the reason was that everybody knew each other's price the last time. They took
Right.
lots of exceptions. We pulled the bid out, and we redid them this time. They didn't take any exceptions at all. The rest of them, they took exceptions, and we basically got 2.5 megawatts for a little under $2 million. And we're getting an optional 7 years warranty, because I believe the payback for the unit is anywhere between 5 to 6 years. And we decided to go with the 7 years warranty for the labor and parts, not the maintenance. The maintenance is approximately $3,500 per year for changing oil here. We have to do that anyway. But I think this is a great price, and I'm looking
Great.
forward to do this project. Everybody would benefit to at least offset some of the costs of the transmission and capacity, rising costs.
Next motion?
Well, no,
Oh, we have to
take the vote
Ready to
first.
vote, I forgot.
Any questions, any further comments? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed? The record show that carried 4-0. Go next one, please.
Move that bid 2017-02 for a 15 kilovolt pad-mounted switchgear be awarded to Trayer Engineering Corporation as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder on the recommendation of the general manager for a total cost of $226,100.
Okay, is that second?
Second.
Hamid, again?
Yeah, this was basically, they didn't take any exceptions. There were three bidders actually that the bid went out. They sent a response. And there was Trayer Engineering, GNW Electric, and Wesco. GNW took exceptions, which automatically they're out. And then the second lowest was the first, actually the lowest, was Trayer Engineering for $226,100. And the next one higher at $287,196 was Wesco. So these are the switches that we're getting. We started a new program for maintenance of the pad-mounted switch gears at the parks. These are old, 35, 40 years old, and we need to replace them. So this is what the project is all for.
Great.
Further discussion? Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries. Let the record show 4-0.
Move that bid 2017-03 for S&C SCADA Mate CX switch be awarded to Wesco as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder on the recommendation of the general manager for a total cost of $114,720.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Hamid
Again, these switches are for the grid optimization project that we have started, and the lowest bidder was the Wesco with $114,720. They didn't take any exceptions.
Okay.
So,
All right, discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries 4-0.
Move that bid 2017-04 for S&C Interrupter Pulse Closer be awarded to Wesco as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder on the recommendation of the general manager for a total cost of $73,940.
Seconded?
Second.
Seconded? Hamid? Yep.
this is, again, Wesco was the lowest bidder for $73,940. This is the second component of the grid optimization that we need for automating the switches out in the field. And they didn't take any exceptions again.
Discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those opposed, all in favor, raise your right hand, please. Again, the motion carries 4-0.
Move that bid 2017-05 for hourly rates for professional manpower, vehicles, trade tools, and equipment for underground electrical distribution construction and maintenance be awarded to McDonald Electrical Corporation as the lowest responsible and eligible bidder on the recommendation of the general manager.
Seconded?
Second.
Seconded? Hamid, one more time.
Yes, this was the three bidders, McDonald Electric Corporation, Fishback and More, and Elecnor Hawkeye LLC. The lowest responsible bidder was an eligible bidder was McDonald Electric for $457,422. And we checked the references, all the references, they came out exceptional. And these are people with over 40 years of experience in doing underground splicing, and so we're looking forward to work with them, and they're very good.
Great.
Very good. Any discussion, questions? I see none. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries 4-0.
Move that bid 2017-06 for Cooper Power System or compatible meters and equipment for the AMI Mesh Network System Expansion and Migration be awarded to Eaton as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder on the recommendation of the general manager for a total cost of $119,531.76.
Second.
Seconded? Hamid?
Yeah, this is the basically expansion of the two-way fixed network, the new system that we installed for Club 500. Now we're expanding the mesh to reach out to the other meters, so we can get more information for the feeders or the at the end of the line. So we get the end line voltage. This was the basically best way to fix the incapabilities of existing AMR Itron system that we got in place. So this is the continuation of that project.
All right. Discussion, questions? Seeing none, all those please raise your right hand in favor. Again, that motion carries 4-0. Last one.
Move that bid 2017-08 for bus installation at Substation 5 be awarded to Powerline Contractors, Inc. as the lowest responsible and eligible bidder on the recommendation of the general manager for a total cost of $57,332.
Seconded?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. One last time.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, as you know, Station 5, it's one of the oldest substations, approximately 35, 40 years old, and the switchgear is almost at the end of its useful life. So we need to keep the system going until we build the new substation in Wilmington. We were purchasing land. Hopefully we are at the final stage of that. So in the meantime, we need to maintain and make sure that it's in good condition until we build a new substation. The first phase of that was the SPDs, the joints to the bus that it was done by another contractor. And as we got into it, we found out that, there are some joints that they have asbestos. So we had to stop the operation and test them and making sure those are asbestos. So this next phase is the asbestos abatement, which is going to happen. And then the third one, while we opened up the switchgear, we found out that the insulation of the bus is compromised, sort of. So we just taped them so it's not going to fail. But we need to redo that until, like what I said, we need to get this substation going for another 2 to 3 years until we build a new substation. And this is going to prolong the life of the switch. And as we build a new substation, we're still going to keep this substation until, the equipment are basically completely obsolete, which we're going to live with. This is going to prolong the life.
Very good. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Opposed, that motion carries 5-0. Very good. You read them well.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hamid.
Okay, thank you, Hamid.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Do we have anything under general discussion? Anybody wants to bring up? If not, our next meeting will be September the 29th, and then October the 27th after that. The audit committee is scheduled to meet on the September the 29th. The policy committee, that's to be announced or to be determined. The fiber optics to be determined, and the CAB is September the 14th. So, Jeannie will have to recruit somebody to go cover that on the 14th. So,
I think I'm up for the CAB, so I can,
write it down. Write it down.
September 14th,
September the 14th.
put it right in.
Book it.
Policy in the fiber,
Yeah, email us and we can.
want to get together at the same time.
Yep.
So September, did you say by the September?
Yeah, we need to report back. The fiber committee dies at the September meeting.
Yeah, that's why I've sent out emails, so.
So we need to meet
get a
before
correct
then.
date.
So what's the date of the September meeting?
September the
So let's do it in
29th.
early September.
All right, well, I'll start to canvas dates.
Yeah, early September probably better.
Okay. And how about the,
Yeah, August is bad.
Yeah, how about policy? Early
Um,
September as well.
When the department get back to us, and when do you think it will be back to us?
I'm trying to get some things out next week or the week after, but probably the first,
Okay,
if everybody's busy in August.
okay.
Yeah.
Early September. Okay, thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to go in executive session.
So moved.
Okay, and the motion was move the board go in executive session to approve executive session meeting minutes on March 31st, 2016, discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, and return to regular session for the sole purpose of adjournment. Second?
Second?
All in favor, raise your right hand. Poll the board. Mr. Hennessy? Ms. Pacino, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good.